Hey there, welcome to UniOne Email API channel. Today we're diving into a topic every Ruby developer runs into sooner or later: sending emails. At first glance, it feels like it should be simple. You hit send and your message lands in the inbox. In fact, there's a whole world happening behind the scenes. Encryption, server handshakes, throttling, even the odd case of Gmail blocking your PDF attachment for no clear reason. We've all been there, staring at logs at 2 a.m., asking, "Why did this bounce?" Or, "Why did that cron job freeze my server?" So let's untangle all of that together. We'll walk through the key decisions, write some code, and by the end, sending emails in Ruby should feel almost as solid as printing to your console. But before we get to the code, let's look at the two main ways to send email in Ruby: SMTP versus Email API. SMTP is the classic method where your application connects directly to a mail server, issues low-level commands, and manually handles the process of delivering each message. The second option is a modern email API, where you send a JSON payload to a web endpoint, and the email service handles the delivery for you, offering a faster, more scalable approach with less code to manage. Both work, but they come with different trade-offs around control, complexity, and how much feedback you get if something breaks. In this video, we'll focus on the SMTP approach in Ruby, while the email API method is covered in a separate video. We also have a detailed blog article with comprehensive information about sending emails with Ruby and code examples. Find the link in the description. Now, let's get started. How SMTP works when sending emails from a Ruby application. Even with modern alternatives, direct SMTP can still be the right choice in some scenarios, like when you need full control over every MIME header, when you're working with a custom internal tool that connects to a mail relay within the same network, or when you're integrating with a legacy system that only accepts SMTP. Just keep in mind that when you go with SMTP, you're also responsible for managing things like retry logic, bounce handling, and staying on top of security updates. Now let's take a closer look at how SMTP works. When you use SMTP, your app opens a direct TCP connection to the mail server and communicates by issuing a series of commands, step by step. It starts with a handshake. Your script sends an HLO or HELO command along with your local domain name, and the server replies with a list of features it supports. The next step is authentication. The client sends either plain or login, along with your credentials encoded in base 64. After that, the envelope phase begins. The mail from command defines the sender, and one or more RCPT to commands adds a recipient. Then comes the actual message content. The data command signals the start of the message body, and Ruby streams both headers and content exactly as they'll appear in the inbox. Finally, the session is closed with the quit command, which tells the server to end the connection and release any resources. Luckily, you do not need to call these commands manually, implementing the SMTP protocol inside your code. Ruby already has a few modules that offer full SMTP support along with a number of additional features. Ruby's built-in email library Net SMTP is a compact tool that comes with every Ruby installation. Don't let its tiny size fool you. It can perform a complete mail task all by itself. Along with the standard Net SMTP module, Ruby includes the OpenSSL library, so you have everything needed to securely send emails without adding any extra gems. However, newcomers often run into a few common issues, like using the wrong ports, dealing with self-signed certificates, or sending malformed commands. These challenges usually cause more headaches than the code itself. The Ruby standard library has everything necessary to send a simple email. Here's a minimal example of how it works. This script sets up sender and recipient addresses, the subject, and the message body. Then it connects to your SMTP server, authenticates with a username and password, enables TLS encryption, and sends the email, all using just Net, SMTP, and OpenSSL. You can save this code in a file and run it directly with Ruby. No external dependencies are needed. Ruby 3.3 is compiled with OpenSSL 3.x, so TLS handshake works smoothly out of the box. If the SMTP server supports encryption, Ruby gives you two options to initiate or upgrade the connection to encrypted mode. You can set smtp.enable STARTTLS auto to use STARTTLS, or if you're going with implicit TLS, you call smtp.enable@TLS before starting the session. Ruby's Net SMTP takes care of the underlying OpenSSL setup and switches the connection to an encrypted channel. When using Net SMTP, you need to configure a few important settings. First one, TLS SMTPS, port 465. This opens an encrypted connection immediately. In Ruby, you enable this by calling SMTP enable TLS command before starting the session. Next, start TLS port 587. This starts with an unencrypted connection and upgrades to encryption after the server's start TLS command. Use smtp.enable start TLS AUT inside the block for this. Username and password. For authentication, call SMTP login after enabling TLS. And finally, HELO or EHLO domain. This identifies your host in the SMTP greeting. It must be a valid, fully qualified domain name or IP address, and is set as the third parameter in the net SMTP start command. Do not use the name localhost other than for testing purposes. Here are some typical issues you might encounter. 1. Self-signed certificates. Your script will fail with an SSL error if the server uses a self-signed or expired certificate. For testing on trusted internal networks, you can disable verification with this command, but never do this in production. 2. Wrong port or TLS mode. Port 465 expects immediate TLS, while port 587 uses star TLS. Mixing these causes connection failures or handshake errors. 3. Blocked outbound ports. Some hosting providers block ports 25, 465 or 587. If your script times out, check firewall rules first. 4. Invalid HELO string. Using IP addresses and generic host names like localhost can cause your emails to be rejected. Always use your machine's public host name. When sending emails from Ruby, it's crucial to configure your SMTP settings correctly. 4 main values determine if your message sends successfully or ends up as a confusing error: the host name, port, credentials, and encryption mode. Getting any one of these wrong can cause your net SMTP connection to hang or the provider to silently block your email. So let's break down what each setting means in simple terms, and then I'll share real examples for Gmail, Amazon SES, and UniOne. This way, you can copy and paste with confidence instead of guessing when you deploy to production. First, hostname is the fully qualified domain name of the SMTP server you connect to. For example, smtp@gmail.com. The port is the TCP endpoint for your connection. Port 465 expects an immediate or implicit encrypted connection with TLS, while port 587 starts unencrypted and upgrades to encryption with the start TLS command. Credentials are your login and password for the mail account. Most providers still accept a username and password, but some, like Gmail, require app-specific passwords or OAuth 2 tokens for security. Finally, secure connection refers to how your connection is encrypted. Use TLS wrapper when connecting to port 465 or start TLS on port 587. Avoid sending mail without encryption. Now here are 3 practical configuration examples. First one is Gmail, for Google Workspace or personal Gmail accounts. Commonly uses port 587 with this start TLS. If port 587 is blocked on your network, Gmail also supports port 465 with implicit TLS. Amazon SES uses similar settings. Remember to adjust the hostname region prefix to match your SES console location, like EU Central 1 or AP Southeast 2. UniOne provides SMTP service tailored for sending emails in Ruby. After your first successful send, you can log into the UniOne dashboard to track delivery stats and troubleshoot using their built-in SMTP service debug tool. Pro tip: if your hosting provider blocks port 587, switch to port 465 and replace Enable Start TLS Auto with Enable TLS. Always keep SSL encryption enabled unless you are testing on a trusted internal network. That covers the most important things you need to know about sending emails with Ruby using an SMTP. If you're curious about the API method, check out our other video where we walk through that approach too. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tutorials. See you on UniOne YouTube channel.